Welcome to another Sunday Q&A. I actually did one last week, so this isn't too bad. So I've been working on the Durango, trying to get the engine bay. Ran into a little thing that I need to fix, but it's not too big of a deal. It's going to take probably a couple weeks to get into the onto the frame machine, but I really don't think I need to go on the frame machine. I'm just going on there so I could check everything with the laser alignment machine and make sure that we don't have a strut tower that's moved, which I just think that it's kind of like this little weird frame horn issue that is like a 1/4 inch out, which isn't too bad. So just need to get that pulled over about 2 weeks out, and then I could get the engine bay painted in the Durango. And I've been working on the Charger, trying to get, not really trying, but working on the Charger, getting the engine out of the Durango ready to go in the Charger temporarily. So I could have a running and driving Charger while I work on the Durango. I'll probably end up doing something else with the Durango, but when the engine goes back into the Durango, it's going to be like 900 to 1,000 horse. So it'll be a little bit more spicy than when I first drove it. And I don't think it was at 700 when I first drove it. So everybody on the Durango Hellcat forum were saying that their Durangos came with a red key and mine came with like a black key, and everybody says that they don't come with black keys. So I'm guessing that it's only at like the Hellcats, like 500 horsepower, or maybe it's a valet key or something that I have, because it felt fast because it was stripped, but I don't think it was at 700 like horsepower fast. So we'll see what happens. I also know that it might have too low of mileage. I think when you buy new Hellcats, they give you like the black key only for 1,200 miles to break it in, and then you get the red key. I've never bought a brand new Hellcat, so I have no clue, but I've heard this. So maybe the only issue was I don't have the red key, and it was just 500 horse, which makes a lot of sense. So when we get it back in there, it's going to be like 900 horse. It's not really going to matter. But yeah, I'm really happy. Came out really easy. I already put some parts for the Charger on it. I need to get I'm going to end up getting a actual Charger Hellcat wiring harness to swap out, because I want to modify it and add the transfer case control harness into the engine harness, because I think it makes a lot more sense than how Dodge has it. They have it like some stupid way, and the harness is like 20 feet long, but I think this will work out a lot better. And I'll have the subframe powder coated this week, which will be nice. And then all I have to do is bolt this engine in there, bolt it in the subframe, Cerakote a bunch of stuff, and then I need to modify the steering rack so it works with the Charger. I'll probably just end up getting a brand new steering rack for the Durango once I start to put it back together. Yeah, she's definitely coming along. Both of them are coming along. Plus a bunch of other stuff's coming along. The Jeep, I was messing with that last week. Got all the armor on it from Rough Country. And what else did I do? I cleaned some of the shop up. I spent a couple days getting the rest of their stuff out of the shop. So all that stuff's cleared out. They had a bunch of filing cabinets, a bunch of like these super heavy racks. I messed with the Supra. I also started cleaning up that pad out there so I could start parking cars. So I had to clean a bunch of their stuff up that was on the pads. There was just like blocks and wheels and tires and just all kinds of just random stuff. And there's a bunch of pickup boxes, moved those out of the way. And I should have a nice little bit of parking outside, which I'll just park, parts cars and stuff like that. I'm not really worried about. So I don't have to like stay up at night worrying that somebody's going to break into my stuff. But because the building has security and it's connected to like ADT, so, or I think something like that, something locally. And my boss lives right down the street, so he gets notified when the alarm goes off. He lives like half a mile away, so he's always down here. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going with my friend to U-Pull. Hopefully I don't get kicked out of U-Pull. I think it'll be a good movie. I'm hopefully going to get a front clip from a Sentra so I can fix the stuff on the Pulsar GTIR. So I need to fix all of, what's going on here? So fix all the rusty stuff and all the stuff they cut out for intercooler piping, which really didn't make sense in the first place, and get pretty much this replaced and this whole thing up here replaced. And then I'll just leave the pulsar one because it bolts on, and the central ones are spot welded. So I could get all that done, and it'll just all spot weld back in, which would be really nice. I'll make sure to, all the bad pieces, I'll pretty much cut them out from the back and then clean up the spot welds. And then I'll be able to just come in and re-spot weld everything back together. This, has a lot of repairs and stuff like that. And you can see all this stuff that they cut out. Good thing that they didn't really cut into the frame rail, which is a plus. But over here, I need to fix this. And they I don't think they cut into maybe the top of the frame rail, but I should be able to get this all patched up with a new piece. And this whole thing looks exactly the same as a B13, B14, and a G20. So I shouldn't have an issue there. All this stuff looks the same. So hopefully I could get that cut and get everything replaced. Once all that stuff is fixed and replaced, I'm going to come in and then just spray the engine bay, and then I can start assembling the engine, get it back in here, fix the transmission, get it back in here. I got a Hellcat Elite for this instead of the Niztune that was in it. So I got that over the week, and I'll just be able to rewire everything, have all the, have a lot more inputs and outputs and a lot more control instead of the Niztune, which the Niztune's okay. I just, it's in a stock ECU. I really, it's better for somebody that wants something more on the stock side that's tunable, and you can still pass emissions with it. I don't know if you could actually pass emissions in a JDM car, but yeah, I can't wait to get this thing all back together. I need to figure out what's going on right there. That kind of looks all bent. Yeah, it is bent. What's going on there? So probably clean this up, figure out what color I'm going to paint it, paint the engine bay, and get all that stuff figured out. So then I could have this thing actually movable, and that'll be a plus. So let's see, what are you guys saying? Hi, yo homies, what's going on? Howdy from Pennsylvania, what's up? Hey from Indiana, what's going on? Are you driving the Z31 still? I drive it every once in a while. It's it needs like coilovers, it needs like a full bushing kit, because it literally is all over the place. But besides that, she runs and she drives and she pulls very well for having, I think almost 200,000 miles or 200,000 miles. So, but it needs like the engine to be gone through, and everything needs to be resealed because the valve covers leak. And I think that's just because it was 100% full of oil right to the top. So I think it just blew out like every seal, like the main and rear main seal, and it just needs to be gone through. And then I think after that, it would be a really fun. It is right now a really fun car to drive around, but once you stop driving it, all that oil from the valve covers and all this stuff just like is leaking on the exhaust manifolds and stuff, and then you park it, and it's just like smoke show. So. It doesn't smoke out of the exhaust anymore, which is a plus, but yeah, it just needs to be gone through. I really haven't had a reason to mess with it much more, but I'm probably gonna, get some of this stuff done and then move, do some little mods to it so I could kind of just get it running and driving and be able to enjoy it a little bit more. I want to respray it and stuff like that, but I already have so much stuff I have to paint. I don't need to add on to stripping another car. So like I said, I want to get the Charger done, the Durango done, and then I want to move on to like the FD, my 240s and stuff like that, work on the Pulsar, just start getting everything running and driving, just so everything, runs and drives. It's really nice. So I don't have to push everything around. It'd be a lot more convenient, a lot easier, a lot more fun. It'll be a lot of fun once the Charger is running and driving. So how do you decide what color to choose? I don't know. I just have like a idea in my head of how I want the car to look, And right now for the Pulsar, right now I'm not sure what color I want to paint it. There's, you know, like I've said before, there's like the Focus RS yellow I've been really leaning towards, but there's also like the Hellcat red, which I could paint, you know, I could paint it that red. It would look really good. I also have a gallon of Midnight Opal for the R35 GTR, which it would look really cool in Midnight Opal, but do I really want to use, you know, a $6,000 gallon of paint on the Pulsar? I mean, it is a pretty rare car, but I don't know if it looked good. I just don't know if it would be the best choice for the car. So I'm still deciding. Once I paint the engine bay, you know, it's full send after that, so we'll figure it out. Mega Squirt is much better than Nizztoon. Only issue with Nizztoon is relying on the stock ECU as they get older. Yeah, I mean, the Nizztoon, it seems like a really cool thing, but on the one that's in the Pulsar, it has like the Bluetooth module, and it has like the cables for the wideband and stuff coming out, going through the case, which the guy just had them like, you know, the top of the case like tightened onto the wires, which I don't know why you do that, because over time it's just going to degrade the wires, and it just seems really kind of flimsy. So I you know, I have a Haltech for the FD. Now I have the same Haltech for the Pulsar. I was almost thinking about using that Haltech on the FC, throwing a bigger turbocharger and some bigger injectors on it, and then seeing how much power I can make till that 13B just tells me no more, because I'm surprised. At this point, I'm very surprised that it still runs, and runs as well as it does, because I drive that thing all the time. I haven't driven it this whole week because I need to order a radiator hose, because a radiator hose like the air box rubbed through the radiator hose, which I don't even know how it started touching in the first place. So I'll probably end up getting a new radiator hose. I probably should order that today. And I want to redo the heater lines, because they added, whoever had the car before, added like this weird little drain thing where you could open it and drain coolant. I have no clue why you do that, but I want to get rid of that, just have it just normal. And I need to do the fan shroud on it so I can put the electric fan and get rid of the clutch one, because I think the clutch fan is actually stuck. You know, I could hold it when the car's idling, but I feel like it's, you know, once I start driving it, it just is always engaged, because I could always hear it. And then the temperature is never, you know, it's never hot. So it's always pretty cool, because I have a lower thermostat in there, and I think how I did that bypass line for the throttle body, I think it actually kind of keeps the engine a lot cooler, because it's bypassing that coolant past the thermostat. But it's such a small amount, it still lets it actually warm up, but it never gets past half. So, and then it never gurgles. So usually, you know, when a rotary has a blown seal, because when you turn the rotary off, when you stop driving it, you can hear the cooling system, it like gurgles, or your coolant gauge will fluctuate a lot. That's how you know you have a blown seal in a like a coolant passage seal in a rotary, or it uses coolant too. So I'll figure that out. I'll figure out what I'm going to put the Haltech on. I really want to put it on the Pulsar. If I end up putting on the FC, then I'll just end up getting another Haltech for the Pulsar, so I don't have to mess with you know, anything else like that Nizztoon. Let's see. Would you be willing to build another carbon fiber roof for a Magnum? Well, the one I built for the Charger isn't going to fit on a factory Magnum. So if I had to make like another mold, because for one, the molds are huge and they take up a lot of space to store. But if I had to make another mold and a roof for like a Magnum, it'd probably be like, 6 to 10 grand to like make the mold, make the roof. It just doesn't really make sense. So, and there's a lot of, people out there that they'll like overlay carbon onto a roof, which I don't know why you do, and stuff like that. So it doesn't really make sense for like a one-off, because you're just like making the mold. So you're just pretty much absorbing like 100% of the cost, instead of, if you had like 10 people, it start to go down, or 20 people, it start to go down. But at that point, who wants a carbon fiber roof for their Magnum? Not very many people. Or who wants one that's going to spend the money? Because they'd probably be like, at the end of the day, if you had an order of 20 of them or 25, they'd probably be like $1,000 to $1,500 a piece or something like that. So, it's kind of hard to find people to absorb that cost to get a group buy kind of thing going. The same thing with like FD parts that I make. I always have, I never sell any. I just have like 100% of the cost of these custom parts that I design, and they always come out great. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense for, me to do that. But I don't like any of the stuff that's already out there. So maybe eventually I could start selling some of the stuff, but I always just end up, it just seems like people just always want to complain when I try to like design something and then market it. I tried to market the intake manifold that I designed for the FD, and there's like just so many people are just hating on it. So I was just like, something, I'll just put it on my car and have 9 extras. So I don't know. It's kind of stupid, but let's see. Are you coming to SEMA? I'm not exactly sure if I am or not yet. So I may go. Is the Charger going to go? I really doubt it. I've just heard and seen too many horror stories of people messing people's cars up at SEMA, or them obtaining damage from being at SEMA. So do I really want the Charger to go to SEMA, get messed up in some way, get scratched, get dented? Because it seems like most of the people that go there have no regard to, some of the cars there are, not that great, but at the same time, they're somebody else's cars, so you shouldn't really be messing with them. Or, there was like these YouTube videos of like this dude that was telling people to stand on people's cars at SEMA and jump up and down on them and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And then I think nothing happened. Like SEMA was just like, oh, well, you can't ever come back to SEMA. And I was just like, oh, wow, man, these people's cars got destroyed. So I think, I don't think that I'm going to take it to SEMA. I'll take it to a bunch of other events, a bunch of races, some stuff that's more, controlled. People seem, more respectful at those events. So yeah, but I might end up going just to go, because SEMA usually is a lot of fun. It just kind of depends on how large it's going to be this year. If, it already sounded like Ford dropped out. I haven't heard anything since that. And then, there's stuff that Chevy and Dodge might drop out because Ford did. So depending on what's going to be there, and if those companies drop out, probably a lot more other companies are going to be like, well, it's not worth going, which are the companies that I like to go see. And it might not make it worth it to go. So once it gets closer, the beginning of October, I'll kind of make my decision there and figure out if I'm going to go or not. Let's see. Hello, what's going on? You the man. It's fun watching all you do. I can live through you. Your skills are unreal. Thanks. I appreciate that. I mean, there's always stuff that I want to learn how to do. The one thing I kind of want to learn how to do, but don't want to buy all the stuff to do it, is like upholstery work. Because in Colorado, there's like no good upholstery shops. So it'd be really cool to learn how to do that, just so I could do it for myself and not have to rely on a bunch of people that really could care less about, what they're doing to your car and stuff like that. That's pretty much why I've learned how to do everything that I know how to do, is because pretty much anywhere you take your car, they're just like, well, we're going to get paid one way or another. So same thing with my headliner. I took it to an upholstery shop locally that's supposed to be a great upholstery shop, and they, ruined hundreds of dollars of my Alcantara, ruined the headliner that they put their Alcantara on, and for the Magnum, and then I didn't have a headliner. So we'll figure it out. I like learning how to do new things. I should have a 3D scanner soon. I'll probably end up 3D scanning a bunch of stuff. I plan on, what I want to do is scan the Durango, the Charger. I'll scan the FD, the 240s, the Pulsar. Pretty much, I'm going to scan the whole Hemi, bunch of the parts, just so I could be able to design stuff a lot quicker. I have a Tesla drive unit. I'll scan that. And then I'll throw all that stuff in CAD. If I'm like, oh, I want to make a subframe, design in SolidWorks, send everything off to be CNC bent and laser cut, and then I'll be able to build like a subframe in a day instead of having to do everything by hand and measure and stuff like that. It's I know how to do it. It just takes so much more time, so much more fitting. If you could get everything laser cut and CNC bent, it's so easy. So we'll get that going and figure that out once I get the 3D scanner. But yeah, I appreciate that. So let's see. Let's see. I'm working on an adapter kit to put KYB Excel G struts and shocks on the Z31 with adjustable suspension. Hit me up. Maybe eventually, once I get to, I'd rather do coilovers, but once I get to the whole actually working on it, I want to do some stuff, like do exhaust and stuff like that. Take us on a Jeep adventure. That is a plan. I've been waiting for it to kind of get into like the fall seasons, but yeah, I want to do that because I think it's just too hot to do stuff right now with the Jeep. Not just because it's hot, because I don't want to have an issue with that inline six being out in the middle of nowhere and just like overheating. So like your videos, keep up the good content. Thanks. Seems like a lot of channels I follow who were much smaller than yours have since exploded and doing better. This channel seems slowly dying. I appreciate that. You know something? Maybe you should come over here and try to do some of the stuff that I'm doing. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Well, Sarah had a channel way before I did, so I don't know what you're talking about. And she was a lot larger than I was. So, yeah. Are you going to do any stripes on the Durango? I don't think so. Thoughts on collaborating with other YouTubers to expand your subscriber base? The thing about like collaborating with other YouTubers, I don't understand why people think this works, but collaborating with other YouTubers really doesn't do much. I mean, you might gain like a couple hundred subscribers or something, but you're not going in helping out like Cletus and then you're going to be like, at 100,000 subscribers. It's not going to happen. So if you go help out Cletus, you might gain a couple hundred subscribers. So it's really not, it's fun to do. I like going, like when I went and helped out Sarah or, helped out a bunch of other people. It's cool to do, but I just do it to, just to hang out and do stuff, not to, fish subscribers off of them because it's not really worth it. I'm a YouTuber trying to get into cars. What should I start with? I would start with not doing automotive-based content. OG sub here from way back. Road Bash TV days. Great content, Dave. Mad respect. for your abilities and work ethic. Thanks. Appreciate that. Would you build my Magnum? I love it, but it's been hell getting it to run like it should be. Dumping money into it for 3 years now and don't want to give up. I don't know. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to get it to run. I mean, what's wrong with it? I thought your original plan was to take the Magnum to... I thought your original plan was to take the Magnum to the event. To what, SEMA? I mean, that was my plan last year, but then, you know, I talked to Magnum Flow, which the car was supposed to be in their booth, and I was like, well, I could just swap everything out for my Challenger Hellcat into the Charger. It would run, it would drive, it would be done, and I could bring it to SEMA. And he was like, you know, there's, you know, not much going on. A lot of people have dropped out, which when I went, it was like a ghost town. So at the same point, I'm glad that he was like, yeah, don't worry about bringing it. But then this year almost sounds like it's going to be worse, because now it sounds like larger car companies have dropped out of the event. So I don't know if it's, you know, I might talk to him and see what he thinks, but at the same time, you know, each time I go to SEMA, it's like just seeing people's stuff get messed up is just like, do I really want to bring my stuff to SEMA? So maybe if they fix that whole issue with SEMA, I'd probably end up bringing my stuff, but I'm just like one person, you know, nobody cares. So let's see. Are you continuing with the Hellcat Durango? Yeah, so what's happening with the Hellcat Durango is I wanted to paint the engine bay, but I also want to drive the Charger until I get the built engine. So the best option, since I've been waiting, so my parts are supposed to be here last week. I've been waiting since the beginning of the year for the parts to finish the Durango. And, you know, I need to go get another gallon of paint. That's not a big deal. But I'm also waiting on a bunch of body parts to finish the Durango. So there's not really, you know, I could be doing stuff to it, which I still am, but until I get all the airbags, all the interior components, all the exterior components, there's not really a reason to leave the engine in the Durango and not drive the Charger, when I could be driving the Charger. And you know, once the Durango is 100% ready, I could just throw the engine and tranny back in it, and it'll have mods on it at that point. It'll be tuned, and I'll be making, you know, the engine should make like 900 or 1,000 horse. So I should, you know, and then it'll be a lot more fun in the Durango because it won't be stock anymore. So plus the engine bay will be painted, everything will be 100% correct, and I won't have to worry about just you know, just random things that pop up, or, you know, having to, and plus to technically put the headers on the engine for the Durango, you have to either drop the whole cradle down quite a bit, or you have to like beat the crap out of the headers, which I didn't want to do. So I'll be able to put the headers on there, do a full exhaust, and she'll sound really good instead of being 100% stock. So yeah, we'll see. The Durango's gonna get done one way or another. I have some plans for it. I'm not sure if a lot of people are gonna like the plans, but we'll figure that out once I get to that point. So we'll see what happens. I've been contemplating some things with the Durango, but once, you know, eventually she'll be back as a Hellcat Durango and have the supercharged 6.2 back in her. Do you own the entire junkyard? So no. So the plan, or the original plan, was I was talking to the owner. He was supposed to sell me the junkyard, and then what happened was there was another junkyard down the street from me, my friend Chris told me about. I should have bought that junkyard because it was only $250,000. But at the time, I was talking to the owner of this junkyard, and then he gave it to his kids, that junkyard sold before he told me that, and now I'm just like, I'm renting this for now. I'm planning on building a shop house, which I really would have rather just bought this, but it is what it is. You can't control what happens sometimes, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, at this time, I just want to get some stuff done, get everything running and driving. That's why kind of the plan is to get a bunch of stuff running and driving. So the next time I have to move all my stuff to my own place, then I don't have to trailer everything, because it gets old fast moving. Plus there won't be as many parts to have to trailer and move, so that'll be a plus. How do you deal with burnout from trying to get creative content out to your followers constantly? I don't know. It's kind of an issue. Most of the time, at this point, I've been working on the charger so long that it's kind of to that point. But I have a pretty good work ethic, which I kind of push through it. But the problem is you make a video, like, let's say the oil pan video for the charger, and then I post like I don't know what the next video I posted. I think I posted like the Jeep video next or something, and then people literally comment on the Jeep video, and they're like, oh, I haven't seen any videos of the charger or the Durango for a really long time. And I'm just thinking, I posted a video yesterday of making the charger's oil pan, which was like a week worth of work, and then it only gets like 12,000 views, which is stupid. Or I could just take the charger to like the dealership, do like the stupidest video ever, and it gets like 500,000 views. That's kind of what irritates me about YouTube. Like, people complain when you actually do work, and then they're pumped when you do like nothing and they watch it. So I'm not sure, the whole burnout thing is mostly caused from that, because you're like killing yourself to build a custom car, which nobody else, the quality that I'm doing, there's probably maybe a few YouTube channels that are doing it, but out of all the larger YouTube channels, there's nobody else doing this kind of stuff. Everybody's just running cars through, if they're doing automotive content, or having shops do them, and then they just are like, oh, the car's done. And I've also thought about doing that, but at the end of the day, I don't really trust shops to do work on my cars, because you pay a bunch of money for stuff and then they just half-ass it. So like the Durango, this, to get this thing fixed, I probably would have took it to a body shop if I was, like, let's say, people always comment on my videos, they're like, Goon Squad would have built this car faster than you. Well, yeah, of course they would have built it faster than me. They take their cars to a body shop and they have somebody else do all the framework, and then they just throw parts on it. I mean, it's super simple. So what do I want my channel to be? I've thought Instagram thoughts on their videos to boost views, which worked very well. And I was like, man, I could do that really easily. And I could have videos that are like 100 to 200,000 plus views a video, because I have a chick with her ass on the videos. But at that point, I guess it works. So I don't know. I've been contemplating a bunch of stuff. Or I could just not show the builds and just do content-based videos where I do like reaction videos and stuff like that, which they're hundreds of times easier to produce, and they always do so much better. So at the end of the day, it's my decisions are based off of what my views look like and what my subscribers say. And my subscribers say they don't really care about, most of my subscribers say they don't really care about me building these cars. So I think I'm getting to the point where, you know, I could make hundreds of thousands of times more money off of YouTube if I just do what everybody else is doing, because nobody cares about, you know, the stuff that I'm doing right now. So it's, you know, once the charger's done, we'll see what happens. But, you know, I'm going to still be getting the projects done. The channel might change direction of the content that's being created. It might end up not being, you know, building cars. It might just be me doing, you know, viral videos and stuff like that. And I think that's the difference between, you know, like my channel and, you know, channels with millions of subscribers, like Whistle and Diesel and stuff. They're just doing, you know, they're not building stuff. They're just doing stuff with the vehicles, and that's why people are interested. So, yeah, so if you guys keep complaining, that's probably what's going to happen. Let's see. What do you think about the fake exhaust sound of the electric car? I think it's stupid. I think it's the dumbest thing since the Prius had to put a sound on their electric cars so people knew they were driving around. Let's see. Haters going to hate, Dave. Ignore them and just keep going. Keep doing your own thing. Yeah, so the issue is that the views aren't there. So, you know, and I think the views aren't there because YouTube doesn't recommend my videos to my subscribers. So, you know, out of 180 something thousand subscribers, I should be getting more than, you know, 10,000 views a video. So I think what's happening is my videos aren't getting recommended unless I do, you know, like a viral video style video. So, you know, it might end up happening. I mean, it's going to happen. I can't keep building, you know, $100,000 and $200,000 cars for, you know, 10,000 views. So let's see. Sound was gone for a sec. Let's go, Dave. Thanks. Still plan on making a carbon fiber hatch for the Magnum. Yeah, eventually. The hatch on it is, and the hatch on the Magnums are super heavy, so I'd like to reduce that weight. 2005 RT replaced motor twice. Now converters were stolen while in shop recently, so I replaced them, and the car runs even worse than it did before, and I'm just tired of going shop to shop with no progress. I don't know what that never, like, doesn't really make sense why it would run bad though. Maybe the fuel pump's going out or something simple. I mean, it shouldn't. I mean, maybe, you know, when they cut the converters, maybe they cut an oxygen sensor wire. There's all kinds of stuff that could have happened if they cut the converters off. How much longer is the charger going to take? I don't know. I should, you know, I'm getting to a point where people, you know, are pissing me off enough, and I really don't care. You know, I should just whistle and diesel the charger, because we have a crusher here. I'd probably get 1 million views off of it, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the charger anymore. I could just put it in the crusher, just right in there with the forks. I almost thought about doing that with that Mustang too that was here, because people kept lowballing me on the price. I almost thought about just doing a viral video and pay for the car. Wouldn't have to worry about it. Forget about the haters. You do what you want. I mean, I do what I want, but, you know, I want to see you build a Hellcat Wrangler. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool, but there's plenty of them out there. Do you tow a lot with your truck? How does it do? I do tow a lot with my truck. So I like that it's a dually because it tows a lot nicer than a single rear wheel. But then it has, 4 tires in the rear. If you have any issue with like a tire that blows out, you have to replace all 4 of the tires, which doesn't really happen that much because you're running E-loads, but it's, it could happen. So, and that's why, I had to do stuff with the tires when I first got it, because the truck, when I got it, was wrecked and one of the tires was punctured by whatever hit it. So I don't know. I really like it. It tows great. It tows a lot better than the older trucks, like the 2005. Like I had the 6-liter, and then I had that 6.4, which was I think a 2009. And the steering is really, really loose on both of those. But the newer trucks, it just is like really nice and tight. You're not like constantly trying to correct it. It's just really, it's a lot easier. If you go from like a 2005, 2009, or like a 7.3, even like if you go from a 7.3 to like a new 17 or newer, it's night and day difference. The steering is just so much nicer. So, yeah, it's just, they're great. I would really recommend like a newer F-Series truck. A lot of people talk crap about them, but mine is on the Street Tune, which I think is 500 horse, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, and I've been driving and towing with it like that for 5 years. So, and she's great. So, yeah, I think a newer F-Series truck is the way to go. Junkyard Dave, you the bomb. Thanks. Be positive, not negative about the new Dodge products. I'm happy with my Hellcat, but I'll take a new Dodge. I don't know. I'm not, I wouldn't say, criticizing a product, technically, people perceive it as being negative, but it's not. So a lot of people, in the comments were like, or, I made a TikTok video. They're like, oh, well, Dodge is going to do whatever they're going to do. And I'm really just discussing what's happening. I mean, my point of view in the whole thing was, I didn't like the exhaust because it's an electric car. It shouldn't, blowing air through pipes is what they said they do, is to me the biggest, like, I don't know, it's just stupid. And then they also said, like, I didn't say anything about it in my video, but I remembered it while I was editing the video and I didn't want to add it. They're making the transmission. So this is like the CVTs when they first came out. They added like shift points to the CVTs so they felt like they were shifting. And that's exactly what Dodge is doing. And it's just dumb. You don't need to feel or have a shift there in an electric car. It doesn't make sense. So, I wasn't being negative. I was just critiquing, I have an expertise in this, electrical and mechanical engineering. I know how things work. I think, there's too many people just saying yes nowadays. There's nobody really out there being like, well, maybe they should do this. The same thing like the Durango Hellcat. This thing has more wiring in it than it needs. This thing is just a monster of wiring. And a lot of newer cars are. The 240, before I tucked the wiring harness, it had 2 fuse boxes, one huge fuse box and one smaller interior fuse box. My whole 240 has the LS in it. It has only the interior fuse boxes, and I had to add 2 extra relays to that fuse box. No extra fuses, and everything is tucked. Super clean, super nice, everything works. It actually has more features than it did from the factory. It has power folding mirrors now, digital climate control, AC, power windows, a bunch of stuff. And it has 40 pounds less of wiring. So the Durango is literally, look at this. Dude, this is just one of the engine bay harnesses. Like, one of the engine bay harnesses. There's another one. We got another one over there. And then the interior, you know, Dodge is like, oh, and I'm sure, you know, engineers, they go into meetings and they talk to the CEO or something, and they're just like yes men. All they do is say yes. And this is the issue with the, you know, corporations. They're just like, oh yes, we need this whole harness that runs along the passenger side, this whole other large, huge harness that runs on the driver's side. Oh, we also need a harness on this side that runs all the way down. That's a huge harness. And then we have another harness on the driver's side. Plus, we have, this is the dumbest thing, I think, out of everything. We have a transfer case control harness right here. Look at this thing. So this also controls the active dampening, but the transfer case part of it is what we're talking about. So look how long this thing is. All the way to here. There's the plugs for the transfer case module. And this is for the active dampening, and that's what that plug right there's for. But this module mounts here on the driver's side under the seat. The wire runs all the way around to this hole right here. But the funny thing is they could have just drilled a hole right here, and all the plugs for this harness are right here and right here. So the harness could have just came out this side, or what they could have done is they could have just added it like I'm gonna do. Oh man, look how nice this is gonna be. Just add it to the tranny harness, come off there, plug right in, and then it will just go right next to the body control module harness, and it's still gonna be shorter. So, I don't know. I think critiquing is not being negative. And people perceive that when people have an opinion about something or critique something, that they're being negative about it, which I'm not being negative. I guess I might sound negative about it, but at this point, how much wiring do we need in, you know, not just with wiring, but, you know, with the whole electric thing. I was like, you know, they should have just went to Tesla. They could have had a 1700 horsepower charger, and I don't know the whole 900 volts thing, because I wonder how many kilowatts that's going to turn out to be, but charging that 900 volt battery is probably going to be pretty substantial. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what it ends up, you know, power wise producing, how fast it is. You know, like I said, I'm not a fan of the fake exhaust on it, but that's like the Hondas that used to put intercoolers on their car and they were just NA. Kind of the same thing. So let's see. Any Durango content? Hold on. Let's see. I'll take a new Dodge. I'll donate it to you just to watch you turn it into a beast. What is this? Oh, I mean, you don't have to donate me a car. I mean, I've helped other people fix their stuff. It just, you know, I'm in Colorado, so it doesn't really make sense. But it shouldn't be that difficult to fix. I mean, if it's had two other engines in it, it really, it should just be simple. It's probably just something with, you know, maybe an O2 sensor wire maybe both O2 sensor wires got cut, which if they were cut and they're not connected to the ECU, it's not going to be able to calibrate, fuel. Who knows if it's going to be running rich or lean. So I'd just start off with that. It's pretty simple. Just look under the car. If those O2 sensor wires that are right by the cats are cut, could be your issue. So let's see. Let's see. Wow, your attitude is terrible. No, it's just called not being a yes man. And my whole life I'm not. So I'm not going to start now. Any Durango content dropping soon? So yes, I am going to have a video tomorrow of getting the Durango ready to paint the engine bay. I need to get it on frame rack, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, and make sure we don't have any issues with the strut tower, but I don't think there are. I just want to make sure before I go and spray the engine bay and then have to go and pull some stuff. So other than that, I think we are getting pretty close, besides getting all the interior parts and the exterior parts I have left to get. Those Wranglers seem to be incredibly overpriced anyway, would be a waste. Everything seems to be pretty expensive right now, but I foresee that it's going to all come down pretty quickly. So, I mean, you can already see locally here, houses have started to drop, $20,000 to $30,000 each, and there's a huge surplus of them. So I think, and they're gonna raise interest rates again. It's only a matter of time before everything else starts coming down, and companies like Walmart and Amazon and stuff say they have products that they can't sell, and they have all these warehouses full of stuff they're trying to get rid of cheap. So it's only a matter of time before everything starts to crash down, and can actually start buying stuff again. Just try not spending $200,000. A budget build would be nice to see too. Yeah, I mean, I really just want to get some of the stuff. I have quite a few cool stuff, cool cars here. I guess I think they're cool, but it'd be really nice to get, those done, running and driving and stuff like that. So, especially my LS240 over there, it really just needs a fuel tank and a ECU is all it needs, and it'll run and drive. Well, besides like painting it, but to get it running and driving, it doesn't need much more. So I would like to do that. Really want to get the FD going again, because it's been sitting way too long. Let's see. That's when I started watching you, when you work on the F450 and rebuild the engine. Thanks. I have an 18 Ram, 350 dually tows, my 13K fifth wheel. Nice. Tight. Yeah, if you don't, the only issue is like if you don't have a diesel, like people that have gas trucks and I see them towing campers and stuff, I'm just like, sorry. I'm pretty sure they make it complicated on purpose so the guys can have some sort of job security. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know why you'd really overcomplicate something so much. It's always beyond me. The one thing I do like about the Durango is so the Charger has two fuse boxes, one in the rear and then one in the front. The Durango only has one fuse box that's a little bit larger. So I kind of like the Durango fuse box a lot better. It has way more things in it, because this thing has, full TVs throughout the Durango. It has, rear heated seats. I think the third row has heated seats. So everything for that, fuses and relays are in that fuse box. But I'm going to end up having like all these extra spots that I'm not going to end up using. So it'll be interesting to get it all, get all that wiring cleaned up. Plus on the rear body harness, actually when it got in the accident, it got kind of chafed or cut or whatever happened to it. But what I want to do is I'm going to end up getting a new interior harness. Well, I'm probably going to end up getting all new harnesses because the front bumper harness is bad, or not bad, but some of the plugs broke off of it. I could have just spliced in some wire and soldered everything back together, but I'm going to end up using pretty much everything so I could get the Charger running and driving easily instead of having to just have all this weird harness stuff going on. I think this will be more simple and more effective to get and it'll be a lot cleaner. So I don't know if I'm going to end up mounting the fuse box for the Charger in the engine bay. I would really like to mount it in the trunk area where the one fuse box is mounted for the Charger, which would be nice because other than the steering rack that's in the front, which I don't think that would be that big of a deal because I think I could pull, because the power wires that come off of the fan and the power wires that come off the steering rack, I think they come off, the power comes out of the actual main like power wire for the battery that's coming up from the underneath the passenger seat. So I think I should be able to still utilize that power wire, run it up to the steering rack, and then all my fuel pump stuff will still be in the back, and I'll be able to, I'm going to have 3 fuel pumps instead of just 1. So I'm going to be pulling more amps from the fuel pumps, having 3 525s, and then I won't have such a long wire going to the fuel pumps because I'm gonna have to rewire all that, and I have like this module from 4 that I got with almost a whole kit minus the fuel rails and the fuel line. So I should just be able to run a power wire to that, a control wire, and then everything will just be controlled through that box, and I won't have a bunch of just random wiring and fuse boxes going back and forth. So I think that'll make a lot more sense. Plus I'll have the battery still in the back and stuff. So let's see. Oh. Man, 46 people, 50 people, and we have 40 likes. That's a lot better than usual. A lot better. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So the Charger, I think, will be running. So the subframe is getting powder coated Wednesday, and the oil pan is already done, and the new oil filter housing should be here this week because I had to get a TRX oil filter housing. And then the steering rack will be really easy to get ready for the Charger. So I think, hopefully, as long as I can get the subframe powder coat this week, I should be able to get the engine and tranny into the Charger this week, which will be nice. Finally. It's only been way too long, and I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. Hello from Denmark. What's going on? Am I still upset about the Durango Hellcat? When was I upset? I'm not upset about it. What are you talking about? Who was upset? I wish I was in Colorado. I need help with the wiring on my 92 two-door Tahoe that I LS swapped. If I don't know what wiring you need help on, but I would really recommend, I don't know what ECU you're running, maybe a stock one, but I'd really recommend just getting if you just get a Holley Terminator X, it comes with a harness and it just clips in. It's super simple. Then you don't really have to worry about chasing a bunch of wiring gremlins or finding somebody to try to wire it up. It just makes it a lot easier. Yep. Plus, it's not. They have so much more control over stuff, and you could use manual or automatic, or 4T60 or 4L60, 4L80. Yeah, it's just a lot simpler. So how long till the Magnum's finished? I don't know. Cars are never finished. Till it's driving, maybe a couple months, maybe a month. But anybody that thinks a car's finished, they're never finished. No matter how good you build them, they're always, if you drive a car, it's always going to need something. It's always going to need an upgrade. So they're never finished. Hey Dave, it's good to hear about the Rampage is going to be finished soon. Can't wait for the first start and first donut. Yeah, I mean, it has been a lot of work, and I still have to, so I'm still waiting to get the 3D scanner, but once the whole 3D scanner situation gets resolved and I get it, I'll be able to scan the floor. It'll be really simple to design the fuel tank, and I have the drive shaft, the rear drive shaft, still waiting on the front drive shaft, so we're getting very close. It's this should have been a lot quicker, but waiting on so many parts all the time is just like the Durango. I mean, waiting 8+ months on parts for it is really bad. So, and the charger has been just a constant thing. It wasn't bad until everything got shut down, and then it just hasn't gotten any better. So hopefully eventually you could just order something and it'll be it'll get there on time or in a decent amount of time. So that's like the biggest hurdle is designing stuff, and or not designing stuff, but ordering stuff and getting it. So the live stream, I've been doing a live stream for an hour, and I think I'm going to work on some stuff and probably just do a lot of cleaning, get the rest of the pad out there cleaned up so I can not have to worry about that anymore, and start, I can't do anything with the Hemi until the subframe's powder coated, so we'll get there. But New Mexico, love the Magnum build, top notch. Thanks. What's your dream car? Mine is a '69 Charger. Probably my 240Z is my dream car, but I'm going to end the video here so I could the live stream here so I could get some stuff done today. And thanks for tuning in. See you guys tomorrow.